Okay, so we have 2006 Ford Explorer, Eddie Bauer edition. We're going to be changing the fan clutch, and we're going to cover that in this video. Ron's helping me today. It's his vehicle, so. Anyways, this is the new part that we're changing, and of course when you do this job, there's a tool that you can rent from O'Reilly's or AutoZone or any auto parts store usually. It's called the fan clutch removal tool, and you need these two wrenches. There's a whole set of different ones for different vehicles, but those are the ones we're going to use. So first thing you need to do is disconnect the negative on the battery, and then of course the power steering reservoir has to come loose and out of the way because it's blocking one of the fan shroud bolts. There's two total you take out to get off the top half, and then of course the coolant reservoir comes off. There's two 10mm bolts on that, and then you have a bracket on the electrical connector to the fan clutch, and that's an 8mm bolt. Usually you'll drain the radiator, at least enough you can take off the top radiator hose to get the fan shroud out, that it doesn't, leak all over the place. But because this is low on coolant, that benefits us, so we don't have to drain it. So I will take these two out. See if we can do a record time change. Try not to lose bolts. Yeah, and then that just lifts off of there. I'll just set it somewhere it doesn't spill. There we go. Kids are having a good time in there. Yeah, radiator cap. Actually, can stay on there. And you just slide that hose off out of the way. And you grab a different ratchet here. Oh yeah, and then that 8mm bolt there, and then you can use this if you'll help you. So you can really use it on this tighter area. There's one bolt on this side of the fan shroud, and then one directly on the other side, and then the top half lifts off out of place, and then that's how you get the fan loose, and you take it off and out of the way. Here's we'll reach that. And of course, flashlight doesn't hurt. It's always fun when it's the bolt is loose enough that the ratchet won't get it, but too tight for your hand to get it. And there's the back and forth. And I haven't lost my 10mm yet.
Don't lose it for you?
Don't lose them. The last thing we're taking off here is the fan shroud. Once he gets that one bolt out, that's kind of stubborn. Yeah, a little half piece that comes off, and now we've got to the point where we're going to use those tools. One of the wrenches goes over the 4 bolts of the pulley that is on the water pump, and the other one is a smaller bolt. Oh yeah, you can get the I guess it probably wouldn't be a bad idea to try to put the camera over there so they can see.
I can give you on there.
Yeah. Okay, so I'll shine it on there, but that way you can kind of see. Okay, where it's at. This flashlight's not very bright. The batteries are going dead on it. I'll set that there. You can kind of see it. So this big square looking one goes over the 4 bolts, and it's usually not too difficult to crack these things loose, and sometimes they are stuck if they've never been taken apart. So you put the one there and you fit the other wrench like that, and of course it loosens to the left. You squeeze them together like that, and then yeah, it's just like that, and then you hold it again when you tighten it, and you want to put it on there pretty tight so it doesn't come loose, and you just spin it off, hold on to it once it gets to the end of the thread so it doesn't just fall off. You don't want to break the fan. And then go in here. There we go. Okay, so that, just like so, and then we've got to unbolt it. Yeah, it's these 4 main bolts you take the fan off. Okay. And those are also 10mm, which is great because we already have that out, so. Use that and the impact a little bit to help speed it up so it doesn't take quite as long. Okay.
Yeah. Just back up here.
Yeah, you could totally do that and face it down, and then I'll just buzz these out. Hope that works. Just do it on the ground here. I actually should have cleared off a table. I didn't think that one through. 1, 2, 3. Probably not do that too much. 4. Okay. Alright. There we go. Okay. Then just leave that. You don't want to get it backwards, so that's how I do it. And then you got the new one, Ron?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. Will it stay there?
I don't know.
Our little homemade. It's actually a microphone stand, but it holds the cell phone nicely. Until I get a YouTube camera, which would be even better. That'll work as long as it doesn't drop it. Okay, so we're gonna.
New part.
That's the old one. Move that out of the way. And the new one. Now we just line it up like that. There you go. Okay, so what I like to do is thread them first a little bit by hand so you don't accidentally cross thread them. And I'll spin it in with the impact, but because they're such small bolts, you don't want to impact them too hard because they'll break. So I'll spin them in, and then go ahead and go over and tighten them. Okay. I kind of just go in there. Cross pattern when I tighten them down, and you can use a torque wrench to tighten them down, but if you kind of know what you're doing when you tighten them, you won't accidentally tighten them too much and break them off. There's this one. Maybe not that one. That one's got some issues. Yeah, I'll use that one. That one works really good. Don't want the fan flying off while you're driving down the highway. I mean, that's not cool. Keep the radiator. Okay, so hold on to that. You can actually feel a point where it stops, where you don't want to keep going and break it off. So, okay. Let's see. Probably about a half turn once it actually gets tight. And then it's reverse of the removal. You put the fan back on first, spin it into place. Once it stops, tighten it, and I'll let you turn that one back up. Okay. Will you hold on to that electrical wire so I don't hang it down? tricky getting the fan clutch started. So I usually try to hang on to it and spin it a little bit at a time until it catches on the thread. Let's figure out. Let's see. And it really helps with 2 people. You can do it with 1. There we go. Yeah.
It doesn't look like it's going to line up. Let's go like this.
So until you get it a first few threads on where you know it's not going to slip off, then you can spin it until it stops. Once it stops, tighten it down good. We'll have to wait before we put that in place so we can put the wrenches on it, because it blocks. Yeah, that's one thing you have to do is, yeah, make sure the wire's out of the way, so otherwise you can't put the tool in place to tighten it. So then tightening it is just the same, the opposite direction, or tightening it to the right. Knocking them off onto the foot, or yours. I guess that would make for a good laugh, I guess, if someone's watching the video and knock a tool down on the foot. Okay. I'll grab the fan shroud here in a minute. Ah, nice. I wasn't sure where you put that out. Okay, so then it has the grooves that you set it down in on top of the bottom half. As you want to check your make sure they're lined up. It's a little tricky. You can get it in there. Oh, okay. I had to move the bottom of the fan shroud in alignment with it, because that's why it wasn't going into place. I guess we've got to be smarter than the part. Did you get your side? Is it not lined up?
It feels lined up, it just feels like there's a gap.
Oh, okay.
Supposed to be a gap in there?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's okay. And then as long as you get the line up the other bolt in there. Yeah, I'll give you this for that one. It's actually kind of neat. We didn't have to take off the belt or loosen the tensioner. Then these bolts, you just tighten them until they're snug. They don't have to be super tight. They're just holding the fan shroud in place. Oh yeah, that one fits a lot better than that old one. There's actually put this back in the tension there. Okay. So after you get the fan on, fan shroud back on, and the bracket back in place for the electrical connector, 8mm bolt tightened down. Here's this.
Get a zipper.
Yeah. Just careful not to go too much. Then after that you have the radiator hose, the power steering reservoir, and the water reservoir, which I could do while I'm just standing here not doing anything. Lined up pretty good. Yep. Then the water reservoir has a little notch on the bottom of it that fits into place, and that holds it in the bottom. There's no bolt down there, so there's only 2 bolts up top. Man, when I started working on cars, it would have been awesome to have Google or YouTube. It was literally, for me, it was figuring stuff out on my own, asking people how to do it, or buying an actual manual for the vehicle and following the directions. A lot of times that was like reading another language, trying to understand that. Okay. The person that designed these devil clamps is not a cool person.
I had to do it before you.
Okay.
Just back in place what you're doing.
Yeah. Oh, you need, that's the 8mm one?
Yeah.
Okay. Sweet. Here's this if you need it, and then Ron's over here doing all the work. Yep, there you go.
That power.
Just gotta wiggle it down a little bit more. Hold on a second.
I'm gonna shorten this.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do that. I thought it sparked.
Yeah.
I'm sure you did too.
Yeah, I actually, that camera might have actually caught that too. Maybe not, I don't know.
Here, my generic.
Alright, let's see where we're at here.
Want to start it up?
Okay, so we're 17 minutes. So our bet was that we could get it done in under 10 minutes, but as you know, when you work on a car, it always takes like twice as long. Okay, nothing's in the way of the fan. And fire and hole. Let me move out of the way. Guess you can start your vehicle better when you find the keys. I'm assuming that's what you're looking for? Alright. Moment of truth. When you gotta start the vehicle after you do the work. Hey, the fan doesn't sound all like it's crazy. It's good to go there when we get to gas. Okay, so we'll go ahead and stop the video. Alright, so we both worked on it. Ron. Alright.